Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Westgate Regulars Hangout. I am still prepping for the game because, Randy wanted the really good descriptions and Stephen wanted a map. So I'm going to make them both happen. Take it away, Aaron.
Yeah.
I love
Wait.
how we started this. Like right before we started,
about
Eric's
what I
like, I
want?
still have to work. So you work on stuff. So you guys are going to have to carry this. And we start and immediately Eric's like, no, it's mine. I got it.
Yeah.
Look at us a chance.
I want to make sure they know why I'm busy. It's all Randy's fault.
But Eric, what about the rest of our wants? You know,
Yeah.
I think Rhiannon wanted a big ass monster, and
Tell me about all the things
I
that
wanted
you
a lot of
want.
hookups and romance, and Aaron wanted
I wanted an
to-
elaborate puzzle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you all wanted.
Well,
I kinda want all of
think
the
I
above,
could go.
actually,
I
so.
could go for the hookups and romance, so he can get 2 birds with that stone.
Agree.
It's my turn, Rhiannon.
You want to
Thank
get
you for the red
romanced by a dragon.
So here's a topic I haven't heard you guys talk about, and I know almost nothing about. The D&D movie that's coming up.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows anything.
Oh, hey.
I mean,
Is that your love child?
it can't be as bad as the last one.
That's my little mascot.
Hey,
It was too cute not
it
to get.
can.
Well, I guess it can.
Is that edible?
Don't tempt fate.
You can summon dragons. Yeah.
Hi, Mute.
Okay,
Hi, Salvary.
Damodar. Maybe I'll wear blue eyeshadow in honor of the movie if it comes out.
I saw that they cast Michelle Rodriguez and Justice.
Prime.
Man,
Prime.
Justice what? I
You
can't
saying
remember
Justice Crime?
No.
I don't think that's his name.
Yeah, there are two actors that they just hired that they announced. Michelle Rodriguez, and then the other person, his first name is Justice, but I can't remember his last name because all I can keep thinking about is Justice Hill, and I don't think that's right.
Here, let's see. D&D movie.
It's Justice Smith.
Okay,
Fire
you're
Dice
faster
Hits.
than me.
No,
He's a
I was
paladin
reading
of
chat.
justice.
I was just reading chat.
Oh, that's also the way to.
See, chat always knows.
No, so I thought there was there was that series that came out. I think it was I saw it on Amazon Prime. That was it was produced by that horrible racist ball bag Kevin Sorbo, unfortunately, but or turned out, I guess, apparently to be some conservative whack job. Kevin Sorbo, sadly.
See, this is what happens when I don't take the lead.
Did you see the slap down that he got from Lucy Lawless? That was
That
sweet.
was wonderful.
I did see that. That was pretty great.
But anyway,
Well,
but
and now we're exposing more of Joss Whedon.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So that's.
Joss
saw
Whedon, the
that.
gift
Dang.
that keeps on giving.
Oh,
I know,
Joss.
right?
What's going on with Josh?
Hey, Umbra.
Josh?
Joss.
Mm,
But more sort of like digging into the depths of his sort of abusive behavior towards the female actors who are working with him. So
Oh, bummer.
yeah.
So there was that series on Amazon.
I mean, it's a bummer because the abuse happened, not because Joss Whedon is a dick, which we all knew anyway.
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway,
I
Is
can't-
it a
Man.
happy series, Randy? Is it nice without like?
No, well, what I was
terrible
saying
things
is,
in
I thought it was what I had always kind of wanted from a D&D series in the sense of, first of all, production values not great at all. The acting not great at all. The script, not great at all. And yet it had promise, and also had, I think, Matt Mercer as one of the villains in it. So, but anyway, it had.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so, but what it was like, I think, a series of 5 movies where it starts off with these the characters coming together as a party in the first movie, and they're and not really yet having their power, not really gelling as a group yet, and then sort of coming together in that, and then sort of a growing overarching menace. And they've got the MacGuffins, they've got the things that they have to go and get, the 5 whatevers, or the 4 stones, or the Horcruxes or whatever that they have to go and get. But over the courses of the movies. But anyway, but that's kind of what I had kind of wanted from D&D movies. Originally, it was that sort of, the party comes together, but then you have you get to follow the growth of this party, just like you get to follow, leveling up and stuff like that. So I thought it had promise, and it was closer to what I had wanted from the actual D&D movies, and they're probably better than the actual D&D movies that have been done so far. But I don't know that I can wholeheartedly recommend them. But,
What's it called?
Oh gosh, probably chat knows.
So Doug asked if it's Mythica.
Mythica. Yes, Mythica. Thank you.
I've seen the first
But
two of
does
that
it
series.
have an oatmeal rug?
It does not have an oatmeal rug that I know of.
Well, it can't be
Well,
a
I'm not
D&D
watching
movie
then.
then.
Right?
You guys see what this says?
I just want to intercede for a
No.
second. Did you all notice that my camera is a little grainier than usual? And I was like, why isn't my actual webcam working?
That's the reason.
So
That will do it.
that'll do it.
So Chris Pine, I don't know who that person is, but he's going to star in the.
You don't know who Chris
Yeah,
Pine is?
He's
You
one
know
of
who Chris
Captain
Pine is.
Chris's.
Come on.
Steven, I'm
what?
going to crash a
Captain
starship
Kirk?
into your character.
New Captain Kirk.
Oh, I know who he is. Okay. I just didn't know his name.
That's who Chris Pine is.
Chris Pine. Wasn't he also in the Wonder Woman movie?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, he's
What's he
one
going
of
to
the
play?
he's one of the action movie Chris's.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to play some action
Unfortunately,
dude.
only narrows the field so much. It's like it's
Chris
a blonde
Pine.
white guy.
So what do you imagine him playing? What character class?
Fighter.
Yeah, it'll be like the grizzled, fighter paladin type character. Probably.
I don't see him as grizzled though. I
Like-
mean, I suppose
Oh
they
my
could try to grizzle
god.
him.
I
But
would love it if he was like a prancy bard.
That'd be great.
Totally be like Dandelion, but like even
Okay,
prancier.
I was just gonna say, like, Henry Cavill, I would have said could not be grizzled, and they managed to grizzle him mostly. So I guess it can be done. But Henry Cavill, is really talented. So
Yeah, he's talented. You know when he's most talented? With his shirt off. That's when he's really talented. So talented.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Or
You're
in the
not,
Wonder Woman.
not wrong.
In the Wonder Woman, we're still talking about Chris Pine here.
Uh,
I
They
mean,
switched to Henry Cavill.
we switched
or
to
Cavill.
Henry Cavill, but
which
yes.
is, legit. Anyway,
Marky Mark, Cavill,
Mhm.
and Chris Pine, shirt off. It's like,
did you just say Marky Mark?
yeah.
All right, everyone in the chat, raise your hand if you know who Marky Mark is.
What's his name?
Yeah,
Once upon a time,
I know who you're talking about.
Once upon a time.
He's
Why is that funny? That's his name.
because it's funny because I feel like Mark Wahlberg has worked very hard to shed that
Yeah,
history.
Not hard enough.
But
He
he
has not worked
cannot.
hard enough.
Oh god.
No one will ever forget Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Never forget.
No.
There is no such thing as a movie with him in it when he does not have where he has a shirt on. Well, that's an overstatement. But
oh,
Hey, Leanne, it's I was gonna say two things to you. The first one was, as I had mentioned earlier, I've dove into the Way of Kings and kind of binged the first two books. But as I was reading them, there were a few moments where I noticed that I was like, I actually felt like I don't know if I want to continue reading this if this doesn't go the way I hope it goes. So I would skip ahead. And then made me think of last time when you were talking about, like, I think it was your mom or someone who skips ahead to reduce her anxiety and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe I'm feeling anxious around now for some weird reason. But and the other thing I was going to say is, and then I watched The Dig.
oh yeah.
Which was supposed to be, everyone said it was really good. And I watched it and I was like, that was a whole lot of nothing. Like they could have done that in 10 minutes. But I think and I think the reason why was because there was like nothing cool and crunchy about the architecture or the archaeology, rather, of it all. And I didn't like gain anything from it.
Yeah, also, so The Dig, they completely erased two female archaeologists who were actually
Ooh.
there at the time, because they did it in the original novel, and then Netflix followed the novel. So of course Netflix is just like, we're just doing the novel. But I haven't watched movie, but I gather that the love interest is a photographer who's a guy in the novel and the movie. And in fact, like when you go to that dig and you look, the people who were taking the photographs were two women.
Oh.
And I was reading a whole thing about how even the female characters who are there in the movie, who admittedly, like they do have various different female archaeologists, they were describing them as kind of like very like weak-willed and sort of being buffeted by like, you know, whatever professional sort of pushback they're getting, as opposed to there were women in archaeology at that time, and they tended to be like, they got there because they would not quit. And the reviewer was kind of like, why can't we see characters like that, as opposed to the sort of like hand-wringing, like romantic love interest kind of female archaeologists. So
That's a good point.
Yeah, I got that sense. It was not well done.
I mean, I'm all for the like crying in the rain kind of historical drama myself, but I dislike that it had to come at the expense of like actual real people who, whatever their stories might have been, sound very interesting. So
so
Rhiannon's rants.
going back to like actors that act in and everything they do, they're shirtless. Like those are people who know what their brands are. You know, like if I had that body, you guys would never see my face. I would be standing up all the time shirtless.
Fair.
And it would just be like zoomed in, like right in my midsection. I would just role play, you know, with my abs.
Yes.
Well, actually, I mean, depending, less so.
We'd have the Dungeon Scroungers OnlyFans page where if we were all, sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. Every YouTube video that we have, the cover of it would just be my abs and some fire and maybe like a little bit of like glistening, you know, some gentle glistening.
Sorry, you were saying, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I was going to say, like, for women on covers, they can't be shirtless, but like for a long time, like every woman on like a historical cover is like this. This is pictured so you can see her clothes, but it doesn't matter what she looks like. And I was going to say, like, I write urban fantasy, but of course, like for those covers, you have to get my ass, and I can't quite get the like whole like back twisting thing on this camera where you have to see both tits and ass.
Right, and your tramp stamp
on the urban fantasy,
and your runic tramp stamp. Yeah.
Have you ever seen those threads where people like real models try to recreate like famous covers that are like
Jim
impossible
Hines
or something?
had a series that was really good.
Yeah, they're super good. You have to wonder like what those artists modeled their pictures after.
Well, even the ones that are like possible.
Yeah. What was his name that did X-Men for a while?
Liefeld.
Liefeld.
No, no. Rob was terrible. But anyway, never mind. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, are you all ready to be cats again?
Yeah, I got new dice. And actually, this one you can't see very well. This is why camera? Why am I close in green? There's no need to make me green. This is a pretty sort of like swirly pink one. And this one you can't really see. It's sort of like trying to be kind of like ancient stone. It's got a little bit of a tinge that's not just white, but I have a whole set of each of them. So now I'm going to put them into the dice bag. So now I think I officially have enough to keep up with the number of D8s for lightning bolt for a little bit longer until I level again.
Did you guys see the human bone dice sets you can get made from from recycled anatomical skeletons that are no longer in use? So they buy the recycled donated actual human skeletons and then they make them into dice for you.
Steven, you're talking to a guy who thinks regular recycling is like the shadiest cartel of all time. So like those recycled dice, like in my mind, I'm like, oh God, some graves are being robbed. I am rolling like somebody's Aunt Petunia in my hand right now.
I mean, like having taken forensic anthropology courses, like you don't need to rob the graves. You just rob the crematorium because bones don't burn. So the cremains that you get are actually the ash and ground up bone.
Rhiannon,
they
That
grind
is
the bone
still
down. So.
somebody's body that is being stolen. And instead of being put to rest, they're being turned into dice for gamers to roll for their fantasy games.
I'm not saying I'm not in favor of like any stealing of any kind. I'm just saying like if you were gonna do
I
it,
hereby
do it
donate
the
my
easy way.
bones to the dungeon scrawlers that you can make dice out of them if I die.
Yes. Look.
Giveaways. Yeah, it'd be great giveaways.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
That's how committed I am to this. Oh my god, this dice gets burned.
Man, that
It's
fulfillment
melted.
would be crazy.
But, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
God.
sure. Yeah. I did go to the Bone Church in the Czech Republic. That was way cool.
Ooh,
Oh man. Yeah, they have those in Rome
those are
too.
rad.
Crazy.
Well, I was reading a thing. You kind of have to do that eventually, because in North America, sort of European Americans, we don't quite have the time depth yet. But like at some point, if you want to bury people rather than cremate them, you run out of space.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about how, in general, in a lot of Europe, because of that, there's the idea that like you're buried for a while, and then they take the bones away to some other sort of location, and then other people can be buried in that space. So with long, long time depth, you don't run out of room if you're doing burial rather than cremation.
Oh, what's the book? Oh my god.
Is that
Hang on a
Susan's-
second.
Susan's book?
No, this is my book.
Oh, okay.
It's possible Susan also had this book, but this is the book. Heavenly Bodies was the one about the Empire of Death. So they're both books. If you are interested in this conversation that I stepped into the middle of, and I don't know how it started.
I don't know that you
Paul-
want to know.
Paul Koudenaris is the author of both. The Empire of Death is sort of, it says, the subtitle is perfect. It's a cultural history of ossuaries and charnel houses,
Ooh.
which includes the
Oh,
bone
man.
churches. And it's really interesting. And then he has one called Heavenly Bodies, which is about the catacomb saints, which is
Those are
a
cool.
thing I stole for a book, but it's so interesting. It's they found these catacombs right around the Reformation, and the Catholic Church is like, we need like more. Like the Protestants are like relics are weird, and it's kind of creepy that you're worshiping parts of saints, and the Catholic Church goes, we need more relics. Again, about the same time, they found an early Roman catacomb and basically went through it and used every bit of evidence they could find to say that basically everybody was a saint, right? It's like, okay, well, this one has imprint of palm leaves. That's an indication that this person was a saint. This one has an M, and it's not for memento, it's for martyr. Like this one has this little ampule full of blood. That is the things that people who were considered saintly were buried with. This one has a rusty spot next to it. That was probably an ampule before. And they would ship these skeletons out
Oh my
to
God.
like churches and abbeys and things, and they would be decorated with jewels and sort of posed and positioned. And still there are places in Eastern Europe where you can find these things, and they're just extraordinary. They fell very out of fashion in the early 1800s, I think. And so there are cases where churches kind of like took their saint and put it under the chairs. But it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
They're weird and gorgeous and kind of creepy, but in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a monastery in Austria called Melk, but no, it was a smaller church. Anyway, they had an ossuary with this. It's like making a beautiful gilded dollhouse, but instead of putting dolls in it, you put like someone's tooth, and then you put someone's finger bones, and they bring it out on that saint's day once a year, and you can go
Yeah.
pray to it, and
Oh yeah. And about the same time, they were like, oh, we're unveiling our new saint, and they're having like duplicate saints and new saints they made up. And if you come, like you get special, what's the word? That's the thing that Martin Luther was real pissed about.
dispensation.
Yeah, dispensations. Like, yeah, come worship, but come see the saint, and you'll get a get out of hell free card.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a very. I highly recommend the books. They're both
The
very
price of
interesting.
admission gets you out of hell. Gets you a signed bone and
There's one
Holy shit.
that's on the cover of Empire of Death, Saint Pancratius, and he's in this like gilded armor that's like cut open, so you can see his rib
Ooh.
cage, and he's posed like this, and it's some dude's skeleton. And that's the part I'm so curious about. Like, who is that guy? Because almost certainly he's just some early Roman Christian. Some
Dude,
guy.
that guy sounds like he needs to be turned into a set of D20. I would buy those dice. I would roll those for my game.
I would like some blessed bones for sure. I
Heck
mean, the
yeah.
way I've been rolling.
Oh man, 5 minutes.
I
Aaron,
know how to work my esophagus. It's fine.
that was our
Aw.
chance to tell her the funniest joke we could think of. And we all failed.
Oh no.
There's no telling what I think is funny.
Get the giggles out now.
There's, I mean, you can
Nope,
see if it still
it's
works.
impossible.
You can see if it still works. Sometimes it sticks around for a while.
Mhm.
But
All right, here's a question for you. Different kinds of alcohol have, by some people, to them have been attributed different kinds of a buzz. Like
Mhm.
some people would say, like for me, it always seems like Scotch just makes me kind of depressed and muted and sad. Tequila is a really fun. For me, it's uplifting. But I wonder if that's just bullcrap. If it's just happens
I don't know.
to be
It
that.
uplifts my dinner.
Psychological.
Yeah, I definitely have different kinds of hangovers from these.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tequila is okay. Rum is good to me. Bourbon is not good to me. Mezcal is just gross. I hate it.
But do you like? And there's some people who say like tequila makes them mean.
Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
get that.
Does that so? Is that,
Oh, I have heard that, like, you know, certain liquor, tequila makes people want to fight. And I think
Hmm.
that's bullshit. But
yeah, I kind of think it is too. But I
Yeah.
Scotch.
Like if you go
does-
drink tequila with people that you secretly hate, that might do it.
Well, I mean, they've proved that people will start acting tipsy if they smell alcohol on the rim of their drink, of their glass. So they think they're drinking alcohol, and in fact, they are not. They will begin to
Oh.
act tipsy.
what a mean
So
trick.
if people will do that,
Right?
I would totally
Interesting.
believe that whatever you've been sort of told and believe about,
Yeah.
like what tequila does to you,
Yeah.
then you make that come true. Completely, 100% believe that.
sense. You know, I'm wearing a green hat. I wonder why it even shows up on my green screen.
Oh, interesting. Do you have a black screen?
No, it's green.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll get a different color hat.
The only thing that works for me is consistently is that red wine makes me sleepy.
Hmm.
I
Well,
mean,
that was a real exciting topic.
now I'm thinking because I
This is a
haven't
very exciting topic.
I haven't had that
Thank you
many
for that
different
question.
kinds of liquor because I hate the taste of most of them.
Mm.
So,
You know what's super dangerous? Those like really fruity drinks where you're like, oh, this is just juice. And then you stand up and you fall down because it's not.
Oh yeah.
well,
There used to
yeah,
be a
super
Trader
fruity.
Vic's up
is-
in up near me, and I definitely had work drinks there once. So I was like, oh no, this was a mistake.
Yeah.
What's it called? Where
Trader
was it?
Vic's, like the
Oh,
Yeah.
Trader Vic's.
Yes.
Yeah.
there used to be one in Bellevue. And I
Famous
definitely went
food.
there with some work friends
Man.
and had tiki drinks. And
But
then
all their
went,
drinks are so good.
they're so good. They're so good. So you drink one and you're like, I'll have another one. That was awesome. And then you're like, oh no, am I drunk? It sneaks up on you. It's the opposite of the alcohol on the rim. You don't notice the alcohol. So you're like, I'm probably fine. This is probably how my brain works. It's good.
Hmm.
She says, drinking a canned Mai Tai.
Not so much into alcohol as I am into milkshakes, but put alcohol in a milkshake. Forget about it.
Ooh, anything in a milkshake is good.
It's real dangerous, is what that is.
Wow. Yeah. I never thought about
Anything in
that.
milkshakes. I'm immediately like, benzos in a milkshake.
Oh no.
Like, no.
Yeah, don't test that statement. So it's
A
6:25.
pen in a milkshake. Sorry.
My favorite. So, yeah, we will be back after the recap. See you in 5.
Oh no.